I'm Kayla with Kayla's Cricut Creations, and in today's video, I'm jumping into some fun and colorful summer Cricut crafts. I love all the bright colors and I try to coordinate so they all kind of match. This will just be so much fun, so I'd love for you to come along and craft with me. I found these adorable jelly bags and just had to grab one for each of my kids. I'm going to personalize them with their initials using my Cricut. I'm turning them into little summer surprise bags to celebrate my kids' last day of school. I'll be adding some fun goodies like these cute popsicle holders and these bright color changing cups. And of course, I'll be personalizing those too. It'll be such a fun way to kick off summer for my kids. I'll also be personalizing these drink koozies and pink hat as well for me. I am so excited for this video, so let's jump right in. I'm going to start off with the drink koozie project. I found these on Amazon and I'll link everything in my description box. These came in a pack of 12 with an assortment of colors. I picked out the 4 brightest ones because I thought they would be really fun for summer. To figure out my vinyl size, I'm going to measure these. The height looked like 4 inches. I measured the width and it looked like it was a little short of 4 inches. I measured the blue and it was right at 4 inches. So these do vary a little bit in size. The green one was just a little bit short as well, and the yellow was 4 inches. I'm using Tech Rep Crafts Fancy Glitter HTV for this project. All but the blue is neon colors, so I think it's going to be fun to pair it with these bright koozies. I'm in Cricut Design Space and I'm going to select New Project. You might have noticed Cricut Design Space made a new update because it gives you different options now. I just did a video on this, so if you missed it, I'll link it down in the description box. I asked people's thoughts and I'm getting a lot of good feedback in the comments. Before, when you selected New Project, it would take you straight to the blank canvas. Now you need to select on one of these. One thing I was thinking was I wish they had another button like up here that was blank canvas where you can just choose to go to that, but they usually don't ask us. I am, however, going to use one of the new features because it's going to be helpful for me with this project. I'm going to select Vinyl Decal. Automatically brings in a guide, which is what I was going to use for this project, so it saves me a couple steps. It does bring in a rounded square, which I think is fine. I'm going to size my design. As you saw, the height was 4 inches. The width varied a little bit. It was between 3.75 and 4 inches, but I am just going to do 3.75 for the width. I'm going to be using an SVG bundle over on Creative Fabrica. I really like the SVG bundles. I like that even if they're different designs, they still look somewhat cohesive, if that makes sense. I'm back in Cricut Design Space and I'll upload 4 of those designs. I'm just going to make these a little bit smaller. Now I can figure out my sizing. I honestly really like that size. Let me see how the others look. I might make it just a little bit bigger. Okay, those look really good. Now all I need to do is change my colors. I think I'll do this one pink. For the sun one, I think I'll do yellow. Then I have green and blue. I think I'll do green for this one and blue for this one. Actually, I think I'll do blue and green. I forgot to attach these, so let me hit cancel and attach all of these. That looks great. I'm going to be cutting this out on Glitter HTV, but I like to use the iron-on setting. Iron-on is specific Cricut vinyl, but the iron-on setting works the best. So I'll click that. It will automatically mirror my design. So I'm ready to head over to my Cricut machine. This HTV is thicker, so I'm using my purple mat, but as you can see, I was just really trying to get the brayer tool to press it down. My purple mat really needs cleaned. I place it carrier sheet side down and the Cricut will cut out the design. I just follow the same process for the other ones. I love the koozie project because it's really fun, but also pretty easy to do on the Cricut, especially if this is one of your first projects. Now I'm ready to weed this. Usually HTV is easy to weed, but I think the cut setting wasn't great. I should have at least hit more for the pressure. The cut design was not wanting to stick down on that carrier sheet. It was trying to pick up as I was weeding. So it was a slow process. I do have a way that made it a little bit smoother, and I'll show you in just a second. Another thing I like about this project is I use koozies quite a bit in the summer. We have fire pit nights. We are going to a lake this summer. I'll even bring it to the splash pad with my kids. I'll put like a can of Coke inside of there. But this is also fun to personalize with names for any type of special occasion like bachelorette parties, girls' weekend, Father's Day, things like that. I am finally done with that. It was awful to weed. My tip is to take out all the center pieces of the letters, then also where there's pieces of the letters that you want weeded out, I just go in and lift those up, as you can see here. Then when I go in and weed out the kind of full thing, it doesn't pick up those letters with it. Now I'm ready for the fun part, applying these to the koozies. I always recommend a heat mat to press it into. It won't work as well to press it onto a hard surface. I set my Easy Press Mini to medium. I love using my Mini for these type of projects. It's just perfect. Then I preheat all of these for about 5 to 10 seconds. I line up my design, then I pressed it for about 20 seconds. When you press it with the Mini, you want to have constant motion. I forgot to show it here, but I went to peel the carrier sheet and the vinyl was trying to pick up a little bit. That is because this must be a cool peel. I couldn't find any info on their website about that, but if you're doing this project, let it cool down all the way, like not even a little bit warm, then try to remove that carrier sheet. I'm laughing because for some reason the carrier sheet just completely lifted off of this one, but when I did the other two koozies, I had to wait for those to completely cool down to remove the carrier sheet, so who knows. Here's a look at how these turned out. I love the bright neon vinyl on top of the neon colored koozie. It gives it such a cool look for the summer. Next up, popsicle holders. These are a summer essential for my kids. We go through so many popsicles during the summer, and my kids grab these every time they have one. It's nice because it prevents their hands from getting cold. We used to use a paper towel to wrap around it, and you don't have to do that with these. You can see all the fun colors that came in, but I want these to match up with everything else with my projects today. I measured these and they were 2 inches for the height and 5.25 for the width. I measured all of them real quick and they were all the same. I'm going to click on New Project again and select Vinyl Decal. The sizing for this was 2 inches for the height. For the width, it was 5.25. Now I'm going to grab a font. I'm going to be using Arial Rounded. I'm just going to type in my kids' names. Now what I'm going to do is create an offset for these. I thought that would be really fun. I'll go up to my offset button and I want to slide this down a little bit to make it a little thinner. Let's try that. I'll hit apply. Then I'll just do the same thing for the other names. I like to keep it at the same number, so it's 0.097 inches. It automatically pops up with that, so that's nice. It just makes it all look pretty uniform. For my offsets, I'm going to make it all white. It's going to be white HTV. I'll go over to my color sync. It's a lot easier just to drag these under the white. And I'm doing pink, yellow, and green. I'm going to do pink for Quinn. She's very girly and that is her favorite color. For Emmy, I will do yellow. And for Josh, I'll do green. Now I'm just going to figure out the sizing for these. You know what? I like the capital better, which is kind of sad because I just did all of this. So let me just redo this offset. Okay, I just like that better. I'm going to change the offset back to white. Then I need to change Josh back to green and Quinn back to pink. Okay, I like that better. I am going to group the offset and the name together. It's just going to make it easier to size these. Okay, I think that looks good. Now I can click the make button. This first one is just the plain white HTV, so I'll select Everyday Iron On. I'm using Caesar HTV for this. This is usually my go-to, especially for solid colors. I'm using the same Tech Wrap Fancy Glitter HTV. It didn't weed very well last time, but I think I'm going to select Glitter Iron On and select more for the pressure setting. I'm using the same heat transfer vinyl, the Fancy Glitter. It just matches so well with these also, so I thought that would be fun. These get used all the time, mainly in our backyard, but we'll bring it to a splash pad too. I think it would be fun to make these for the neighbor kids or even their cousins, so we might do that this summer. I've been making these for years now, and I wanted to make some new ones this summer because they can get pretty sticky and gross from the popsicles. I'm sure you can wash them, but I thought it would be fun to add to their summer bag. My favorite way to personalize these is with their names, but you can even put one of their favorite like TV or movie characters on it or whatever they're into. This weeded so much easier. The last designs that I did were pretty intricate, so this went a lot smoother and faster. I'm using my Easy Press Mini for these as well. Once again, it's just perfect for this project. I heat the offset layer first, and I literally did only like 3 seconds for this first one. I could see that it was adhering already. Then I add the second layer on top. Typically, if you're using glitter, you want that to be layered on the top. I heated this one for about 15 seconds. I was doing between 15 and 20. Before I removed the carrier sheet, I let it cool completely down, so I moved on to the pink one. I only did 5 seconds for this one. I don't like to put a Teflon sheet or parchment paper on top because I like to be able to see it getting heated through. Did you catch my mistake here? I didn't take the carrier sheet off, so I'm heating Quinn directly over the carrier sheet, and I'll show you more of that in a second. As you can see, Quinn is heated directly onto that carrier sheet. The plus side is my project's not ruined. I just had to recut out Quinn, as you can see here. I'm not sure what was up with hers, but as I started to heat it, the carrier sheet slid a little bit, so it was not directly in the center. Once they were cooled down, I removed all the carrier sheets. One thing I noticed right away is I love the white for the background. It really makes the color of the letters pop. How fun are these? Here's a quick look, and I'll show you what it looks like with the popsicles inside. Another super fun summer project are color changing cups. These are such a hit during the warmer months because they actually change color when you add something cold. The color change is fun for kids, and I picked 3 colors that match the jelly bags. I measured my tumbler and decided to do 4.5 inches for the width. I'm using more Tech Wrap craft vinyl. This is called Colorful Pearl Vinyl. It looks very similar to the HTV, but it is adhesive vinyl. I thought the colors just matched up so well and just look really pretty against the tumblers. I'll click on New Project, and this time I'm just going to click on Blank Canvas. Then I'm going to click on my text. I'm going to be using the font Disney. I found this on Creative Fabrica. I just thought it had a really fun design for my kids for the cups. So I'm just going to type in all of their names. I want my width to be 4.5 inches. I do think since Josh has less letters that it just looks a little too big. What I like to do in this case is look at the font size. I'm going to grab the 137 font size, and I'm going to make all of these 137. What that does is it makes it all look more uniform. Now you can see Josh isn't really big compared to the other 2 names. Once again, I'm sticking with the same color theme. I'm going to do yellow for Emmy, pink for Quinn, and green for Josh. Okay, now I can go to the make screen. I'm using Colorful Pearl Vinyl. It's kind of similar to either glitter or holographic vinyl. I think I'm going to try the holographic vinyl setting. I'll have the Cricut cut out each one. I was thinking these would make really fun party favors. If you have kids having a birthday party, you can personalize the names of the kids that are coming and put little goodies inside. I must have selected the iron-on setting because, as you can see, the yellow was mirrored. I always keep my mistakes in here because it's nice for others to see. I've been using my Cricut for 7 years and I make mistakes all the time still. Another fun vinyl option for these cups is holographic vinyl. That would just look so pretty, especially for summer. I place my cup on my tumbler holder, then I spray it with rubbing alcohol. The rubbing alcohol cleans the surface, so the vinyl will just lay nice and flat and stick so much better. I'm using Caesar transfer tape. This is my go-to for transfer tape. I use it for almost every project. This vinyl, since it's glitter, it's a little bit thicker, which makes it harder for the transfer tape to pick up. Cricut does make a strong grip transfer tape, which usually does work pretty well, but I like to use this little hack where I press my brayer tool right up against the backing as I peel it away. I just line this up on my tumbler, then remove the transfer tape. I follow the same process for the others. I also recommend this tumbler holder. It really makes it easy to apply the vinyl. As you can see, I don't have to try to hold on to the tumbler. It just holds it for me. Here's a quick look at how these turned out with the lids and straws on. My son probably won't like the cursive and glitter, but I kind of wanted it to all match. I can always change it for him later. Now let's test it out and see if the color will change. Every summer when I was a kid, my grandma would make slush, and I don't know if she made it up, but it has lemonade, orange juice, pineapple juice in it, I think water and sugar, but it tastes so good. It was always really fun, so I like to continue that tradition with my kids, and I think it would be fun for them to drink it out of these cups. Here's how the color changing worked on these. How cool are they? They're going to be so fun for this summer. I might make one for me to put iced coffee in too. I spotted these jelly bags at Michael's. I am a 90s kid and we had jelly shoes and I think we had jelly bags too. It was kind of a thing back then, so I think the nostalgia totally got me with these. I also just love how fun and colorful they are for summer. I measured these and the height is 0.75, so it's pretty small. I'm going to do the shadow monogram. That has been popular for a while and I've never made anything with that, so I'm excited to give it a try. First, I'm going to grab my font. The font I'm using is Arial Hebrew. I'm just going to type in my kids' initials. For my font size, I want it to be 0.7 for the height. 0.75 is what I measured, so I wanted it just to be just a tiny bit smaller. Now I'll just duplicate all of these. I'm using 6 different vinyl colors, so I need to switch these to match the color that I'll be cutting it out on. So QM, both are going to be pink. One's going to be a darker pink. I think we'll just do that, and then I'll choose a lighter pink. Something like that. And when it goes on, you just kind of offset it a little bit. EM is going to be yellow, so I need a darker yellow and I need a lighter yellow. And JM is going to be green, so I'll do dark green and light green. As you can see, all the different colors. This is a really great scrap vinyl project. I'll select Premium Vinyl Permanent Glossy for my cut setting. This is a great project for the Snap Matte feature. That's only on your phone or your iPad. I do have a video showing how to use that. I can link it, but it's really old. I should really do a new one. When adding transfer tape, I'm adding it to the one that I want to be on the top. Then I'm just going to try to offset it a little so it gives it that shadow look. Once I like kind of where it's at, I will press it down. When layering vinyl, I like to layer it all together on one transfer tape first, instead of trying to place the vinyl down directly onto the blank. Look how fun these are. I can see why they're so popular. It gives it such a cool look. I'm using rubbing alcohol on the bags first, then I'll place the vinyl down. Like I said earlier, we go to the splash pad a ton in the summer with an 11-year-old, 7, and 3. There's a big age gap, and the splash pad is something that all 3 love, but I thought it would be fun for them to bring their own bags. They can put their towels, toys, snacks, things like that, and they can carry it themselves. How fun are these? I love the shadow monogram look. At the end of the video, I'll show you how I fill all these up. For my last project, I'm going to personalize this pink trucker hat that I found at Michael's. I love pink and I'm excited to have a hat to wear this summer. Measured my hat and I'm going to do 4 inches for the width. I just didn't want my height to be over 2 inches, so I'll double check that in Cricut Design Space. I'm in Cricut Design Space. This is the SVG that I'm using. I thought it was kind of funny, even though I'm making it for myself. But the width I put in 4 inches and it looks like the height made it around 1.8 inches, so that is perfect. I chose something that was longer but not as tall, so it would work well on the hat. I have it sized and attached so I can go to the make screen. For my cut setting, I'm going to select Everyday Iron-On. I'm using Caesar HTV and this one is neon pink, which I think is so fun for the summer. When I was weeding, that thin border around the letters started to pick up and I did not want to deal with that, so I decided just to weed all of that out of there and it still looked totally fine. I'm using my Cricut hat press for this video. I placed the pressing form that comes with it inside of the hat. At times, I can get frustrated with Cricut's Design Space updates, and I don't even love their vinyl, but one thing I will say is I love their machines. The hat press is designed to make it so easy, I feel like. I forgot I probably should have used the Strong Grip tape. It's the color purple, but I started with the tiny little yellow pieces and switched it out with just that blue Cricut tape. That was able to hold it. I did forget to preheat my hat. This was getting towards the end of the afternoon and I was going to have to pick up my kids, so I was completely rushing through this. I run the hat press over it. I'm using the Heat Guide app. It will just automatically ding and tell me when it's done. This is a warm peel, so I can peel the carrier sheet right off. I tried to get a quick video of me wearing this, but it was so windy out, but you can kind of see how it looks on. I think it just turned out really cute. Now I'm ready to fill up their bags. They already have quite a few summer things. I usually do it for Easter, like swimsuits, chalk, things like that. But just a few things like this will be really fun to kick off summer. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, put some type of summer emoji. It's always fun when I do that to see the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I would love it if you subscribed if you are new to my channel.